Almost a year ago, I posted a video titled 5 times AEW poke fun of WWE. So this is a follow-up to that, sort of. As instead, we're looking at 5 times WWE poke fun of AEW. I'm sorry, Cody Rhodes, we just can't have you smashing thrones with sledgehammers anymore. Do smash those notifications and the like button though, so let's get into it. At number 5, there's probably no best way to start off this list than with former WWE Champion Drew McIntyre talking about one of AEW's most recent botches, that is the Fail explosion earlier on this year at AEW Revolution. And this one was live on Monday Night Raw. And this doesn't usually happen. WWE usually doesn't make fun of AEW during one of their main shows. It's a pay-per-view weekend and AEW is set to give us a heck of a matchup and probably a moment we will never forget. The main event of the show was a barbed wire exploding match. The explosion had been built up and hyped to be something huge. Unfortunately for AEW though, when the time comes, it's just going to be a huge botch. It's Jon Moxley taking on Kenny Omega. As a heel, Kenny Omega is about to do the unthinkable. He's about to leave Jon Moxley in the middle of the ring as the explosion is about to go off. To make things even more dramatic, out comes Eddie Kingston, who is one of Jon Moxley's best friends, and he tried to go for the save. He tried to cover up Jon Moxley to take the hit of whatever is going to happen, but unfortunately nothing happens. There were just some sparkles firing from the four corners of the ring and some smoke, while Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston are right in the middle and they have no choice but to sell it. Everything was about to be so big that Eddie Kingston basically fainted to sell the whole thing, but it didn't happen. Fans obviously made fun of the whole situation, and it's pro wrestling, botches like that happens, so people are gonna make fun of it, as did former WWE champion Drew McIntyre. Fast forward over 24 hours after, it's Monday, so it's Monday Night Raw. He opens up the show right after this AEW Revolution pay-per-view, and he cuts a promo about some guarantees that MVP had made. He also made sure to throw shade at AEW, talking about sparks flying if promises are not delivered on. Drew McIntyre stated the following about promises, and I quote, "That's such a dangerous thing to do in this industry, because if you make a guarantee and don't deliver, fans get upset and sparks fly." Social media went crazy. WWE faked the virtual fans in the Thunderdome, so they also went crazy. Up next is Vince McMahon's blood and guts comments. This one is hard to forget because there is a whole matchup and a whole AEW special event dedicated to it. On a second quarter investor conference call, Vince McMahon was asked if WWE will alter its presentation to keep up with AEW, which happens to be a bit more edgy. WWE, as we know, is a PG-13. They stick to that, try to push the envelope once in a while. A lot of time not on the show though, just like Vince McMahon here, he decided to go a bit more edgy, as the chairman of the board did not have too much good to say about his competitor, saying that WWE won't go back to blood and guts. Vince McMahon then went on to mention how he doesn't envision TNT allowing that for very long. His exact quote was the following: "We're going to be a bit edgier, but we'll remain in the PG environment. We are not going back to the Attitude Era blood and guts, something you might see with a new competitor." But as I said, AEW didn't back out for all of this because it all led into AEW Blood and Guts special event and matchup, which ultimately is a War Games match, a stipulation that Cody Rhodes' father, Dusty Rhodes, created. WWE obviously owns the right to the name War Games, so they couldn't call it like that. So right after Vince McMahon made these comments, they decided that that was gonna be a great name. Honestly, a great way to take advantage and just turn the tables on WWE mocking their product. At number 3, WWE kept this one on the down low. It was a very subtle way for them to take a shot at AEW, and it certainly doesn't feel like it was a coincidence. AEW aired the first ever pay-per-view Double or Nothing in early 2019, and the day after that pay-per-view, WWE sent out an email to its subscribers to tune into the WWE network for a special episode of WWE Untold. This is where the company took a shot shot at AEW, as these episodes turned out to be the failed relaunch of WCW. WCW was obviously the last time before AEW that WWE faced competition from other wrestling companies, or at least in a bigger stage. The timing of this email, which was the very next day after AEW first pay-per-view, convinced a lot of fans that this was a job at AEW and it wasn't just a coincidence. And that week, WWE wasn't done just yet, because days after, Sami Zayn name-dropped the promotion live on Monday Night Raw during his electric chair segment, which only lasted one episode. And that was the one. It was likely because he did mention AEW. This is where Sami Zayn quote-unquote asked a lot of unscripted questions from fans in attendance. There were some generic questions which caused Sami Zayn to spice things up and name-drop All Elite Wrestling, indicating the following: you could have asked me anything. You could have asked me about AEW. In an interview after, Sami Zayn ended up revealing that this wasn't specifically in the script, but that at the same time it wasn't unplanned. And last on this list is one that we are never going to forget, as it is one of the first times that WWE acknowledged AEW and make fun of them even before starting. This was Triple H calling AEW a pit sand company, and then Shawn Michaels joining in and adding some extra comments. This was during the 2019 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. An AEW roster member was appearing in a WWE ring for the first time. That was Billy Gunn. This was the year that D-Generation X was inducted into the Hall of Fame, so WWE had no choice. They have to have him in there. During the speech, Billy Gunn decided to take a horrendous shot at WWE and Vince McMahon. He said Vince McMahon can no longer fire him again. However, Triple H was quick on the update and said that Vince McMahon will buy AEW just to fire him. While obviously they were just going at each other and having some fun, the adjective attached to AEW was definitely to make fun of them. Triple H indicated that he will buy that piss and company just to fire you again. Fans obviously took offense to all of this, and even AEW wrestlers were upset at it. To add even more to it, Shawn Michaels referenced All In while thinking about Billy Gunn and being All In. At the time, that has been AEW's bigger pay-per-view before the company was officially formed. There's obviously a lot of other times where WWE made fun of AEW, but these are 5 that would definitely live on. If you guys want to watch the opposite of this video, 5 times AEW poke fun of WWE, make sure to check it out. It's being suggested to you right now, right there. You can't really see me pointing, but you see it. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you found this informative, don't forget to elbow drop it. I got you on the next one, so stay savage.